You became so used to hiding part of yourself that being fully seen started to feel dangerous. So you learned to adjust, to soften your opinions, to overthink your words, to read people's moods before speaking, to become who others needed, just to feel loved. And after a while, you stopped asking, "Can I be myself here?" You only asked, "How do I avoid rejection?" Somewhere along the way, you learned that love felt safer when you stayed quiet, smaller, easier to handle. So you became emotionally careful with your feelings, careful with your needs, careful with your honesty. You apologized for things that were never wrong with you. You called yourself too emotional when your heart was simply asking to be treated gently. And maybe nobody noticed how exhausting that became. The constant self-monitoring, the overthinking after conversations, the fear of saying the wrong thing, the anxiety after being vulnerable, the pressure to stay lovable. Even your nervous system became tired, because pretending to feel safe is not the same as actually feeling safe. And the hardest part? You became so good at hiding yourself that people started loving the version of you that survived, not the version of you that needed love the most. But healing begins the moment you realize this. Real love does not require self-abandonment. Real love does not ask you to shrink, to perform, to constantly prove your worth, to betray your own emotions just to keep people comfortable. Healthy love feels calmer than that. It allows your shoulders to relax, your voice to soften naturally, your nervous system to breathe again. And maybe, for the first time in your life, you are finally learning what emotional safety actually feels like. You are finally safe to stop performing, safe to stop pretending you are always okay, safe to speak honestly, safe to exist without constantly fearing rejection. And little by little, you are meeting the version of yourself that had been hidden underneath survival all along. And maybe healing does not begin with becoming someone new. Maybe healing begins the moment you no longer feel afraid to become who you already were underneath the pain. The version of you that laughs without overthinking, the version of you that speaks without fear, the version of you that does not constantly apologize for existing, the version of you that feels deeply without believing that sensitivity is weakness. That version of you was never broken, only hidden beneath survival, hidden beneath rejection, hidden beneath years of trying to stay emotionally safe in places that never truly held your heart gently. But now, something inside you is changing. You are no longer trying to earn love by abandoning yourself. You are beginning to understand that peace feels different from anxiety, that healthy connection feels softer than emotional chaos, that being understood feels safer than being tolerated. And slowly, your nervous system is learning that it no longer has to stay in survival mode all the time. You no longer have to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that cannot hold your truth. You no longer have to silence your emotions just to avoid making others uncomfortable. You no longer have to become smaller to deserve love. And maybe that is why this season of your life feels different. Because for the first time, you are not only healing from people, you are healing from the belief that you had to hide yourself to be worthy of staying loved. So if your heart feels softer lately, if you feel emotional listening to this, if part of you is grieving the version of yourself that survived for so long, be gentle with yourself. You are not falling apart. You are finally becoming safe enough to return to yourself. And maybe that is where real healing truly begins.